Greetings peoples, and welcome to my first ever sponsored product review. A company approached me wanting me to test one of their products and do a video review on it, and they gave it to me for free, but that does not mean for a moment that I'm going to just say it's wonderful and there's nothing wrong with it. There are pros and cons. We're going to go over it. It's a very, very popular product, and if you stay tuned, you're going to get a coupon code that's going to give you a heck of a lot off on Amazon. What product is it? It's the JACKERY Explorer 240. Let's go check it out. HOBOTECH. The JACKERY comes well packaged. It has a 2-year warranty card, the instructions, a nice little zippy bag to put the power cables in, a box labeled number 1, which contains the DC power cable, box number 2, which contains the AC power cable. Then, of course, you got the JACKERY itself. Now here's a closer look at what you get in the box. You get the JACKERY, and you get the AC power cable, the DC power cable, the warranty card, the case, and the instruction book. Here's a close-up of the specifications of the JACKERY. You can see it has a 16.8 amp hour lithium battery running at 14.4 volts. It takes a DC input between 12 and 30 volts with a 42 watt max. That's important to remember. Then it does an AC output at 200 watts. It does a DC output of 13 volts at 10 amps, so 130 watts on the DC output. And then the USB output is a typical 5 volts. Notice these really cool rubber feet on the bottom. You can see I'm hitting it on the table and it's barely moving. Those rubber feet do a great job of keeping this thing planted. One of the things I like about this JACKERY is the size. It's not very big. I can put the specifications on the screen. You can see how big it is. It's not very heavy. It's the size of probably like a motorcycle battery. It's also very well built. The handle is solid. The plastic is very solid and thick. There's a vent on each side. You will hear the fan running sometimes when it gets hot. It's one of the best things I like about it. I like the shape and the size. It fits just about anywhere. My favorite way of charging the JACKERY is with the DC cable. You just plug it in there, then plug this into one of your lighter sockets. I plug it into my house power, but if you're driving a car or a truck, you could easily plug this into your regular cigarette lighter up front in the cab, and it would charge off of your starter battery. But be careful, this could drain it. Now the other way to charge it, if you have an inverter or house power, you know, you're plugged into the grid somewhere, say you're at a RV park or at someone's house, you can use the AC charger. Plugs in exactly the same place, then you just plug this into an outlet, 110. You can get that anywhere. And when you plug in the JACKERY, the display comes on, and it'll show you immediately how many watts it's charging. In this case, it's only charging at 15 watts because it is practically 100% charged, as you can see there on the display. The left-hand side tells you how much power is coming in. Right-hand side tells you how much power is going out. What's extra cool about the JACKERY is that each one of these systems have their own on-off switch. So it doesn't drain any power at all when it's not in use. So say you want to plug in some USB. You just hit that button. The display will come on and tell you how many watts are going out, in this case 0 because it's not using any, although it is using a fraction of a watt to power the USB ports. It's too low to actually show up on here. Same thing with the AC inverter. This can run up to 200 watts AC power, and again, you'll see when you turn it on, the display will automatically show an output. In this case, it is showing an output of a few watts because all inverters waste power when they do a conversion from DC to AC. And what's super cool is that the DC port has its own on-off switch. So again, plug it in, the display comes on, and it will show an output. In this case, it's 0 watts out, and that is true 0 watts because it's not powering anything until you plug it in. Now the only downside to the JACKERY is it does not come factory with a plug for this hole. So when you pull it out of the box, I was kind of surprised. I'm like, man, they could have at least put like a plastic plug or something on there to cover the hole, because if you're traveling and you have pets or hair or dirt and you're outside or whatever, junk's going to get in that DC slot. I guess it's not the hardest thing in the world to clean out, but I thought that was kind of lame they didn't include a cover for the cigarette lighter. So you're probably wondering, what kind of things can you power on the Jackery? What's its primary use? What could you use it for? Can you power your laptop? Can you power this? Can you recharge your drone batteries? What can you do with it? Well, let me show you what I've been using it for the last couple of months. I've used it for pretty much just about everything I can think of within its power limits. I'll give you an idea of how long the battery will last with each one of these devices. Now in the book it says you can power a 5-watt LED light for 40 hours, smartphone 15 to 20 recharges, a laptop 3 to 4 times recharged, a console, which I'm guessing they mean a game console, about 2 hours, and you can run a mini fridge at 70 watts for 3 to 4 hours. So I have a little bit of a debate with those numbers. Mini fridge, they're probably talking about one of those really cheap, like $79 refrigerators that you pick up at Best Buy. That's probably right. They'd probably run that for 3 or 4 hours. But one of the Dometic compressor refrigerators, they run about 70 watts as the compressor's running, and that maybe runs 20 minutes an hour, maybe a little bit more on a hot day. So I think you can get easily 12 hours powering a refrigerator off the Jackery. Now, I have not done it myself, but just doing the math and knowing how much my refrigerator takes, I have Dometic 35 quart. It does not use that much power. I also have to disagree with the laptops. I've charged my laptop about 3 times before the Jackery died. Then again, the battery on my laptop's kind of larger than most, maybe. I'll show you right now what kind of devices I charge. So one of my first big tests with the Jackery was to power my Asus mini PC. Now, I built this mini PC to do all my video editing on. It is a full-size tower PC, basically squished down into a tiny little box. It does have a full desktop processor in it. This was a kind of expensive device, but I wanted something compact and power efficient. Now, it does sip power at idle. I think it only uses about 15-20 watts at idle, but when I'm rendering a video, it uses up to 150 watts. So one of the things I actually did is I replaced the AC power unit that came with this computer with this DC power pack. So it has a DC plug that I can plug into the Jackery. I generally plug this into my RV power supply, my house batteries. So I don't lose that conversion from AC to DC. I'm going from DC to DC, which is the most efficient possible. And I suggest if you have a laptop or anything like that, that you get one of these. This brand here is PWR Plus. Now I duct taped this together because I stepped on it and the case split open. It's ugly, but it works. This one actually does up to 150 watts or 160 watts, something like that. But what's cool about the Jackery and the DC power cable is I can just plug it in, hit the button, I can just turn on the computer, and you'll see how much power it's using. And here comes Windows. So I'm sure now you're wondering, how long can I run my mini PC on the Jackery? Well, I got it to run about 6 hours, but I was rendering a video in that 6 hours. So that would be my typical use for a day. I could generally run a day's worth of work. I can do a full video edit, all my stuff online. I can do it all on the one charge on the Jackery. So now you're gonna wonder, okay, if you have a laptop, what's the difference? So most people are gonna have a laptop. I have this high power Asus laptop here that I have charged off the Jackery. I just have it plugged in right now with its normal power supply. I did not get a DC power supply for this yet. So I just turned it on, and it's telling me that it's going to be doing a charge around 50 watts. And it's going to bounce back and forth between a lower output and a higher output as the laptop switches on and off for the charging. Now that's a very low amount of wattage, and this is just charging the battery. If I would run the laptop, let's see what kind of power it uses. So I just turned the laptop on. It's powering up. You can see it's using a lot more power now. So now the laptop is just at idle, sitting at the Windows desktop, but it is charging the battery too, so it's using about 70 watts or so. So this is where I have a little bit of a problem with what it says in the book about the Jackery recharging a laptop. I can only charge this laptop maybe 2.5 times before it kills the Jackery, and it's saying 3 to 4 times in the book. So just be aware, if you have a high-powered laptop, expect to get 2 full charges out of the Jackery, and pretty much not much more than that. If you have a netbook or something low-powered like a tablet, you'll be able to charge it 4 or 5 times. As you've seen in a few previous videos, I've powered this entire strip all night long on the Jackery and used about 20% of the battery. This whole strip, I think, uses something like 25 watts. And if you're interested in lights like these outdoor string lights, they are weatherproof. You can keep them outside. They have 2-watt bulbs. It's a 48-foot strand. That's what they look like when they're hanging up. I was using these at the RTR, so if you've watched the RTR videos, you know exactly what these are. These are available on my Amazon page. And of course, so is the Jackery. Now, one of my favorite things about the Jackery is just how fast it charges my cell phone on the USB port. Now, these are 2.4 amp ports. They're both 2.4 amps. So you could draw, I think, about 20 watts, 22 watts from these USB ports if you plug them both into a high power device. Plug it in, kick it on, and now it's charging my phone. You can see that it is outputting 10 watts, which is pretty amazing. To get a 10-watt charge on a cell phone is really good. Typically, if I plug my cell phone into the van's 2-amp USB power that I installed myself, it'll take about 6 hours to charge my phone, but with the Jackery, I usually get it charged in 2 to 3 hours. So a lot of times, I'll just plug it into the Jackery if I need to speed charge. Very cool. And the fact that you can plug in 2 devices at once just makes it even better. One of the other things I've powered is Pat's LED projector. He's letting me borrow this. It is a super cool 720p LED mini projector. And this is what we were using to watch the movies on outside in Lake Havasu. This will run the projector part, the screen part, and the speakers. I think it uses about 40 watts, and we have no issues going all night long. I think that's one of the big strengths of having one of these portable power stations. You don't have to run extension cords, you don't have to turn your inverter on, which is very inefficient. Most of us have 1500 watt to 3000 watt inverters, and they take 20, 30, 40, 50 watts sometimes just to turn on without even anything plugged into them. The Jackery only uses a couple of watts on its inverter, so it's a lot more efficient for low power devices. So if you're going to power something small, you can even run your LED TV off the Jackery, no problem. If you're going to do outdoor movie nights, or you want to run some lighting or anything AC or DC powered outdoors, the Jackery is just a great solution. All right, so you're probably saying at this point, it sounds like a perfect device. This guy's on Jackery's payroll. He's just saying everything's perfect. That's not the case at all. There are a couple of flaws. One of them I think is kind of serious. The other one's just an annoyance. The first one I'll talk about is just an annoyance. You can see here that the Jackery only allows input of 42 watts maximum. So whether you're plugged into shore power, or you plug in at McDonald's or Starbucks or any kind of house AC or your own inverter, this thing can only charge at 42 watts maximum. Now that wouldn't be a problem if the battery in it wasn't so big. This has a 240 watt hour battery, which is about the third of the size of what's in my electric bike. So at 42 watts, if this thing's completely drained, it takes 7 friggin' hours to charge it up. 7 hours. Now that's not typically a problem if you're just plugging it in overnight on shore power and you don't use this thing very often, but there's been days where I have been using this, pretty much draining it down to about 20% every night doing our movies and stuff, and then somehow I have to get this thing charged. I have to charge it overnight when there's no solar, and it kills my house batteries. You really only want to charge this during the day if you're boondocking when the sun's out. Now, it's springtime. We're getting about 7 hours of sunlight now, so you can charge this off your solar. But be warned, if you try to charge this thing at night or overnight, it's probably going to bring your battery bank down. This thing should definitely be able to be charged in 2 or 3 hours. Now, I don't know why they built that into this to limit it at 42 watts. There's probably some reason, maybe liability reason, they don't want the batteries to get too hot or something like that. But it's a real pain in the ass to wait 7 hours to use this thing again. So that's the annoyance. Now, the big flaw in this, and I say it's a big flaw because it's important to me, it might not be important to you, but say that you were going to run your CPAP machine off this, which this will definitely run your CPAP machine probably for a couple of nights before it needs recharged. But there's one problem with that. When you run the battery down to 0%, there's no warning. It doesn't beep. There's no lights that blink. It just dies. So if you have this plugged into your computer and you're editing a video, and this is how I found out. I was editing a video and the power went out. I thought this thing was going to beep or flash or honk or yell and scream or something and tell me that the battery was about to shut off. It didn't. So be warned, if you buy any of these Jackery devices, they have no warning that they're going to shut off when the battery gets to 0. So just keep an eye on that power when it starts getting low, and you'll be all right. But if you're going to use this for a CPAP or something of great importance to your health or sanity, start with a fully charged battery at night and just keep an eye on it when it gets down below 10%. Other than that, this is a great device. I've found so many uses for it. I've charged my electric bike battery partially off of this, and you can see that in previous videos. I've charged my drone battery. You'll see that in a clip coming up. And as a bonus, I'm going to show you how to make your own solar cable so that you can plug this into any solar panel. It doesn't have to be Jackery's $200 solar panel. You can make this cable for practically nothing and plug it into any solar panel that has MC4 connectors. That's going to be a separate video. So if you're interested in the Jackery, there's a link in the description. You click on that and it'll take you to Amazon. As of this recording today, Jackery offers a $15 off coupon on Amazon. But you'll get another $37.50 off if you use the code HOBOTECH in checkout. So when you go to checkout and pay for your Jackery, make sure you click the $15 coupon. Now that coupon may not exist anymore by the time you watch this video, but it exists today. Click on that coupon, add it to your cart, and then in the promo code section, type in HOBOTECH for an additional $37.50 off. Right now, you can get the Jackery for $197 shipped to your door free, so that's a great deal. This is typically $250. This is going to get you over $50 off. This is a limited time offer, guys. I don't know how long this coupon code's going to last. The company just gave it to me and they said, when you put the video out, mention this coupon code, and that's what I'm doing. So click that link below in the description, go to Amazon, order it now, put that code in, and get your Jackery. If you're somebody who lives out of a truck camper or something small, you don't have a lot of solar, you don't have a lot of batteries, you don't have a lot of power, this Jackery could be night and day between you using your computer or watching your TV. You can run small appliances off of it, anything up to 200 watts. It's pretty good. I've really enjoyed it. I would almost like to get the 440 and try that one out next. That's their biggest one, but that's kind of expensive. I think it's a $500 device, but I'd like that to charge my electric bike battery, because I hate trying to do that off my inverter. It takes so long. Because I'd like to charge my battery slow, so it lasts longer. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you have any questions about the Jackery. I'll try to answer them for you. That's it for now. Till next time.
Odin commands you to like and subscribe, and clean my litter box.
So what I got going on here is I'm using the Jackery to charge my cell phone, my spare, my little lithium battery there, and I have the drone charging up. I have the remote and one of the batteries charging because I plan on flying the drone. Now, one of the things I haven't done a video on yet was I built this cable that allows me to use one of my broken solar panels to power the Jackery. The Jackery only takes 42 watts maximum input. So I figure I'll take these panels, which basically do 35 to 40 watts when they're broken. That's pretty good to charge the Jackery. Because the thing is, with 3 panels plus the 2 on the roof, that's enough to max out my solar controller. So I kind of have an extra panel not doing anything. So I figured my phone and everything charges real fast on the Jackery. Why not use it for that? Hey, thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe, share, and like. And we'll see you guys next time. Say hi, Odin.
RV Golf Guy Joe Lazaro hat.